Welcome everybody to Squirrel Rosenberg Radio TV / getting you the video and the audio to exactly what we do here at the lab. Let me just take this moment to welcome you all to this wonderful cold Saturday here in the lab, but we're in this beautiful space right now. It feels like 90 degrees. And I just want to give a big shout out to Louis the Baker, Omnika, Dr. Jen, Ellie, everybody who came through last week and hit a home run on that very intense conversation, which we'll be posting shortly on the SoundCloud and on our YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. However, as I talk about a treat, and what a segue, I am honored tonight to have a very good friend of mine. And before I even mention and get into allowing him to express who he is, let me just give you a little precursor to the relationship and how I met this interesting human being who goes by Mr. Steve Dubois. I was invited by a very good friend of mine to a bachelor party, and when we sat down and started building, and it was organic, the energy that we shared. And from that day, which if I were to do the math, I want to say 10 plus years, we've kept in touch and really connected. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give a round of applause to my guest tonight, Mr. Steve Dubois. Thank you so much for coming through, my friend.
Oh, no, absolutely. Thank you. And that was beautiful.
Toast. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Heineken, whether they know it or not. So, let me just take a chance to wet the palate and enjoy.
Well,
Mr. Dubois.
You really do appreciate Heineken.
I do. As you can see by the set, these are not bottles that were, brought in to create the set. These were the residue of sitting back and enjoying over time and responsibly a couple bottles of Heineken. So let's talk about you.
Talk about me.
How's everything going, my friend?
Everything's going well. I need a change in my life, and when you first called me, I'm going off a little bit, but when you first called and said, hey, I'd really like you to get involved and come down and do an interview, it was the perfect time.
Which is all it is.
Perfect time for me to just come out of a place that I've been for a while, and now I need to open up. So it's all right, this will be a good opportunity for me to try something new.
It was beautiful, the way you shared that at the timing when I did call. Mm-hmm. And when you said you were going, you elaborated more than about the project you were taking on. So why don't you share that with me right now a little bit on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, because you wanted to embark on this project, which was...
I guess in one word, procrastination and break it. I think I'm not alone in this, but I'm not trying to pull everybody down with me. But no, I don't know, maybe it's a coming of age, at least for me, and this time at a ripe old age of 44.
Wow.
It's 44, right? 44. And I've just been doing a lot of thinking and planning, and it's been years. I've been wanting to come out and start something with wow, man. There's so many thoughts that come to mind. But I've been wanting to express who I am. There's so many people I find they might go through their daily life, whether it be wanting to lose weight, or they're not happy with their job, or they're scared of their future, and so much. I'm trying. I gotta stop, man.
Why? Keep going. So let me pull you back in. Let me pull you back in. So on the show, what we try to do is we try to play with 4 major topics, and they're what they call the 4 don'ts. And what we mean by that is you're not supposed to talk about sex, which we're going to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about politics. We're going to talk about that. You're not supposed to talk about religion. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about family. You know what I mean? So what we try to do is, and be comfortable here, because what makes this, and I think what the country is lacking right now, is a lack of communication. And what that means is, whatever the difference is, I need to listen while you talk. Then you need to listen while I'll talk. And if there's a difference, appreciate that difference and move on. But the fact that you're not talking and not talking civilly, there doesn't need to be this. Like, for instance, I'll show you something before we jump into politics, which will be the topic that we're going to be touching on.
Go ahead.
If you look at the way my buddy, Mr. Steve Dubois, is sitting right now, and remember, I'm talking about communication, and understand how this segue applies. You're sitting with your hands relaxed in an open manner. You follow? Mm-hmm. If we were talking and you were like this, you're not accepting exactly what I'm saying. If you were talking and your hands were here, You don't care what I'm saying. But if your hand is in some form of, and I know the arms of the chair are helping you to keep it that way, but you're comfortably in that position. So what that means is you are accepting this conversation. You're open to what's being discussed here. And a Rastafarian taught me this. He said what he does when he stand up, he makes the V like that and just maintains that position, because you have to be concentrating to keep your hand in that position, which means you're concentrating on the conversation you're having with that person. So I big you up for not knowing about that and doing that, because I'm pretty sure you never heard that.
No, I never heard that.
There's a lot of useless information on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. So let's stop into the politics things. What's your feeling on the way the political climate is in the U.S. right now?
Uh-oh.
Go in. Do you like the way things are going right now? I mean, what are your thoughts, and what are your thoughts about the future? 2 minutes.
My thoughts, just on the right off the cuff, there's such a lack of love. Everybody is
profound.
Not really, really, not really. It's unbelievable. Everybody's at one another.
When you said a lack of love and
hate.
really not really, expound on that, because that was profound. That right there is the cure. But then you say not really, as
meaning that it's right there. Everybody knows it.
Exactly.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
It's the minimum.
It just somebody's in the hospital that you love, the closest person in your life. Maybe it's a child of yours. Maybe it's whatever. You know, whoever that is to you. It's such when there's, what it is at that moment. You know about love, or when all of a sudden there's a flood in the neighborhood or something bad. Yeah. Everybody comes together and everybody wants to help somebody. They want to help somebody. They don't.
So why isn't that love present now? Is that what you're saying? Because it's inherently in all of us. Because if you remember when 9/11 happened, the New York climate was tense right before that. The stop and frisk was moved. Then when the 9/11 thing, that whole country rallied. Then the love and killed all the hate prior to the. I mean, not to say
momentarily. I think.
Yeah, it did.
But it was nice. It was like the door cracked open.
Yeah.
Just a crack open. A little light shined in.
So right now you're thinking, if we were to interject the most common known anecdote, which is love, which we all know, that would really help to make smooth things out, where we can have a conversation and maybe allow the president to do his job, or because what I'm feeling, and this is just my opinion on that. Here's a guy who definitely got into office. Allow him to do his movement. Just see where give him a chance to get things done. What are your points on that?
You're gonna have to rephrase the question.
What are your thoughts on the way Mr. President Trump is moving right now, in terms of his policies, what he's implementing?
I think I just gotta be honest with you, because
this is what I want on Rosenberg Radio.
Yeah, there's too much. There's just too much attention on it. I think there is. I think there's too much attention, and I think there's too much lack of information and lack of education, not just on the politics. If you just go back into the history of all things, deep back, and connect the dots. Nowadays, I didn't think this way, but nowadays I do, and I don't think most people do. They don't even understand that it's in the arena of things to get a full, true history of their past. They don't. They're just getting fed this information, whether it's
misinformation
or just information, but they don't have any information. If you just go back and really do all the digging on your own, or do research, you'll find different things that make you think differently, and realize that this whole thing is probably, more than likely, absolutely 100%. Again, I said probably. It's a show.
Yeah.
And everybody's caught in it,
said.
and we're fighting one another over and over, and it's getting worse. At least that's what we see, that it's getting worse.
I have to commend you, Mr. Dubois, and I love the way that name just rolls off the tongue.
Stevie Dubois?
Yeah, Stevie Dubois. However, I love the philosophical approach you took. And what I meant by that is you took a big picture approach. You follow? Because I tried to ask you specific things, but you took it bigger, and said, but at the end of the day, we're all getting this. So that was beautiful. I want to commend you on that. And as we get ready to wrap up the political segment of this discussion, in an ideal world, you're the president. 2 things you would like to implement.
Well, in the ideal world, I wouldn't be the president.
Okay, nice.
You know?
Okay.
I don't want anything to do with that.
But if you could implement 2 policies that you stand by, if you could implement 2 policies without being the president, what would those 2 policies be?
It's a question that I've never been asked. It's a thought that I've never had. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you the answer or an answer.
I like that. I like that pause. I like that pause because what you're telling me is you could have answered me abruptly, but you took time
to just be telling you that I don't know.
No. But you also showed me that you were putting some thought to it because it was a question that required some thought. So I do appreciate the pause. And as a wise man once told me, you never underestimate the power of the pause. Because it gives you time to recollect. So I really appreciate that. As we get ready to wrap up the political segment here with Mr. Steve Dubois on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know the music you're going to be hearing in the background in a few will be available on our SoundCloud. Please tune in to our Instagram and our Facebook. We're going to be streaming live as we get ready to chill and bill. We have a lot of great shows coming up. Stay tuned. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio 1. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, thank you guys for tuning in as we kick back and enjoy the company of Mr. Stevie Dubois. Enjoying some of the fresh beverages here. Toast, my friend. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and spending some time with the
all we have is time.
That was a jewel that was just dropped. You just dropped a jewel. Yeah. On Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, when you say something profound that's very applicable, we call it he just dropped a jewel.
Okay.
So for everybody
I got a couple of them.
So for everybody who's going to be watching this, you'll see that.
Yep.
Just dropped a jewel.
They will.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Yes,
that was beautiful. So as we get ready to swing into the second topic here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, I'd like to touch on your opinion on family.
You want to touch my what?
It's funny. I just want to touch on your opinion on family. Let me know. Where were you originally? Your parents? Where they're from? Your grandparents? Are you guys?
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. My mom is German, so I'm German Italian. My mom's German. My father's Italian.
Oh wow!
And grandparents both on both sides, all were, from what I understand, if I got it right, they were all born here.
Okay.
Great grandparents migrated over.
From?
Italy and Germany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
With the suitcases.
Nice.
And all.
To the Liberty, Statue of Liberty, right?
I think that's how they did it, and then went to Ellis Island. I think that's the way it was done.
Back then. Wow. Italy and Germany.
Yep.
So have you visited both countries?
No, I've been through Italy, but I spent time in Croatia, so I really just had a slice of pizza at the airport in Italy, and that's it. Haven't been to Germany. Would like to go, but there's other places I'd like to go before.
Okay. Nice. That's a very interesting mix.
Yeah.
How many siblings?
Brother and sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a nice gap between them.
Oh, nice.
I'm 44. My brother's 27, and my sister is 24.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I know. Wow.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. So, when you was it a very rambunctious family? Did you guys travel a lot? What was like your summer vacations like?
We just used to go camping, and again, with the age difference, it was just like, wow. Being up in the mountains was the thing. We would go day trips down to the beach.
Okay.
But mostly it was up in the mountains, and that's, I guess, kind of where I grew an awareness of, I really like to be in nature, and that's where I spend my days.
In nature,
in the woods, yeah, I like it that way.
What was so? Let me be microscopic.
Come on in
to that point. So, as a kid growing up, you go camping, you're in the woods, and instead of being turned off by everything there, you're inspired by it as a child. So now that you're a man, you find yourself enjoying that even more.
Yeah, being in nature.
That's interesting how that seed got planted.
Yeah,
your reaction to that.
Yeah.
Wow. What's your fascination with being in nature? Is it something you feel? What is it?
I feel more alive.
No way.
Right, I mean that. Yeah, I feel more connected with myself, and that's something that just has always been around for me. I don't know. I tend to think a lot of people don't have much of that connection. They're so there's a word that I can't spell or maybe pronounce.
Try
I'm
it.
just messing around. No, it's not even there. I'm just being artistic in my speaking. Maybe not so artistic. But me and I think a lot of people are just spending a lot of time on that TV, on that
The
computer,
artificial connection.
Yeah, just nonstop. And and then when they get into the woods, I'm sure there's a saying for it. But when they get into the woods, outside of the kicking and screaming of it's the bugs or this, that, and the other thing. After a while, I think there's all of a sudden it was like a big deep breath of fresh air, and then they get back to their regular life. And, wow. Yeah.
It's a reset, well deserved.
Yeah, I need that again. Something about that. I mean, I didn't like it, but something feels good. So I try to immerse myself in that as much as possible.
Nice. I really like that because it seems like you make an effort to take the time out. Everybody else is so busy in the quote unquote rat race, and
for what? The rat race. Where you going?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Where you going? Yeah.
Who are you kidding? I tend to think people. I'm sorry, I just jumped in front of you.
No, go.
I tend to think people just look in the mirror and I got a little sidetracked about it. The rat race. Where you going? I tend to think that you might just be listening to these words, thinking whatever you're thinking, but you look in the mirror. Yeah, I think you do know. I think there's something more. I think we all know there's something more.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of conditioning because we've been
absolutely.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah,
and when
you
break
at a very young age. That's a whole other subject.
It does. It does breed in that whole something. But what I hear from that, or what I'm experiencing myself, is when you break away from the norm. Sometimes it's not, especially when you're not as successful initially. When you break away from the norm, you look like why are you doing that?
Yeah, you're the outcast.
You're tapping into that nature power. You see, I know you for as I said 10+ years, so I know your appreciation of nature. But I wanted you to express it, and I'm so glad you did, because when I am in nature, I feel that reset. And unfortunately for me, with my wife, on our 25th anniversary, we were able to go out and go camping for a couple of days.
Yep, you told me.
Yeah, and she brought no food. She's like, I just brought some seasoning and the pots. We're catching our food.
Oh, wow, you went that extra.
Well, we went, so we got a canoe. I got the rods, and we got on the boat. And, of course, I was the prep guy, because by the time I hooked the worm up and gave her the pole, and she cast it, and I'm rowing, boom, she's catching these bass. We went home with like six bass. She gutted them, clean them up, scale them, wrap them up in the foil paper, throw them on the fire. I mean, I ate like a king that night.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, Mr. Dubois, I felt so alive when I had those fish, because they were just alive a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Fresh, so the nature connection is beautiful. But I am also aware of the impact of family, and then the subconscious and conscious effect your family unit and the family experiences have on you. So, I mean, that's beautiful. In the final ending of the
family segment.
On the family segment, if you were to, you look at the way our society is going right now, with everybody's being a little bit so disposable with relationships, and what's a word of advice could you give to someone who is in a position like, wow, I can't do this?
Oh, wow, you can't do this.
Yeah. Because I got a buddy of mine who's about to get married, and he's our age, and he has a kid coming up, and he's like, wow, almost shell shocked because he's been single all his life.
Wait, so you have a friend who's getting married, who has a child,
who just is having a baby now at our age.
Okay, and he's getting married. And he's thinking, oh wow, I can't do this.
Yeah. No shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but understand. but understand. This guy's been single for 45 years.
Yeah.
He's only had to deal with himself. And when it comes to the whole family thing, you have a wife, you become number 2. Get a dog, you're number 3. You follow? So you go down the totem pole every time an element is added to the family. So it's the wife, the kids, number the kids up, add the dog, add the cat, then you're number 9. So it's kind of tough for a lot of guys to readjust to that. So when I told him I was going to have a meeting with you, I said, you know what? I'm pretty sure Steve could probably drop some, jewels on how to ride out with that.
Yeah, I don't know how to put. I don't know how to. I don't know. That's something that I find in my own personal life that's never been the case. I know it's very the stereotype, or it's quite typical to hear that, and you see that portrayed in television shows. The man has become demasculated, and the female has taken on the male role to some extent. I mean, if you just look at it, the dumb male in commercials, and I think that crosses all races, colors, and creeds. It's just men. Men are like dumbbells.
Yeah,
true, I mean, guys weren't maybe so great back in the day. They just smacked their wife or whatever,
actually,
a woman around.
Yeah, like cavemen did, where they just grab them by the hair and just drag them to the cave, right?
But again, it's the education. People are growing up with that, and men are looking at that and accepting that.
Yeah.
I don't. So I don't relate to a lot of guys when I hear that talk. I don't think any less of them. I'm just grateful that that's not my situation. And at the same time, I take responsibility for that. I'm not going to deal with that. You're dealing with that. Or you're not dealing with some way. You are dealing with it. If you're like, oh yeah, the wife, you're a silly person. You don't have a relationship with this person on a good playing field.
Right.
Would you be that way with your gym partner or your partner in business? This guy's an asshole. I'm sorry.
No, you are.
But you have a good open communication, and even the stereotype of a woman is, my man is I don't know, complaining about, or in whatever form of it, or yelling at people need to communicate better. And
true.
It's a stereotype, or whatever word you want to put to it. But men are responsible for just bowing over, and women, you want a guy that you just yell at, tell him what to do, and he just, I gotta run away from my wife. Oh shit! I better not tell her this or that. What kind of life is that? But God bless you. It's your choice, and if you got to do you. Do it your way. But that was very profound. Wrong.
Yeah, so you got to change up the playing field and the communication level right there.
This is just my opinion, so.
No, this is what this is about, And on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, I just want to let everybody know, as we dibble and dabble into these topics, everything that you're hearing, ladies and gentlemen, will be also available on our YouTube channel, so you can check out the behind the scenes. And as we kick back and relax, I want to give a big shout out to E-Dub on the back handling the sound, and Manny handling the video to make sure everything's beautiful. We're just going to cut right back right now and come back with some classic hip hop. But before we do, I want to let everybody know, SoundCloud, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, check us out there. However, let's just keep rolling. Listen, what you were saying, I love that. That's true, because if you take the perspective shift for the person, because now he's like, oh man, how am I gonna deal with this? Dude, you're supposed to be there to serve, and she will be reciprocating with the same love. So now it becomes, you want to do those tasks. You want to be in that, and that's what I heard from what you're saying. So
sure.
What created that mind? Were you always thinking like that, or something created that mind shift? Was it an experience, or?
I can't be certain. I'm not certain.
Okay.
Just
good answer. Somebody asked me that before.
I don't know. I think if I look back, just right now, I haven't looked back like this with this subject. If I look back in relationships, I vaguely recall, like at a young age, 17, 18. No, I think I'm kind of losing that. But something around the time, like I just wouldn't. No, I'd know. You'd go out on a date or two or whatever it was, and you realize, oh, this isn't somebody. That's it. I remember anybody that I dated, no matter what was going on in a relationship or how long we were in a relationship for, somewhere there was a time where I realized, oh, I don't want to marry this person. This isn't somebody that I'm interested in spending a long time with.
Okay.
That just kind of popped up into my being, or whatever you want to call it. It just kind of popped up, and then that's when I realized, oh, I would break up with somebody. I wouldn't stay with somebody for anything. It was just, once I realized, I don't want to spend my life with this person, I would always break up with them. It's kind of weird. I never even thought about it until now.
That's a very good point. But wow. So what made the shift now? What was the difference with your wife now? What created that shift when you met her to say, at that
time I wanted to just find somebody that I could spend my life with. Just I didn't want to date anymore. I wanted to just find somebody that I loved and that loved me, and that we can spend our days with.
Nice.
Somebody that I like,
How did you meet her?
Oddly enough, I had been at a time where I was like, I'm done with going to these. And at the time, we were going to like dance clubs, rock clubs.
Yeah,
Mostly rock clubs, but
Okay.
a lot of them had a dance club attached, so that became a thing. And I went
Yeah.
out to a couple dance clubs.
Are you a good dancer?
No, not a great dancer. I dance to my own beat. No, I got but I like to dance solo. Like, I don't have your...
Okay.
You know, I'm
okay.
either the crazy guy out on the floor dancing, or somebody hates me because they don't like the way I'm dancing. Like, you know, like, call me names. I'm just dancing like nobody's looking. That's basically it.
Good.
But at the time, in a long story short, I was at a rock club down South Jersey. A friend of mine dragged me out. I didn't want to go anymore. I was like, done. And we were there for a little while. And again, long story short, we were leaving, and it was it's kind of corny, but whatever. It's just like in the movies where the crowd opens up, and then you see that one person. It was like the crowd did open up, and I just saw this one girl leaning up against the wall, and I said, hold on, and then I walked up and leaned up against the wall next to her, not talking to her for a minute or two, and then I said, I just kind of like bumped her, and I said, I don't even remember, what was my first opening line? You got a piece of gum. That's probably what it was. So I was like that. And whatever, we talked for a little while, and then I said, I'm going to get going. I was actually on my way out. Well, I didn't go over that. Well, never mind. And whatever, exchanged phone numbers, and then that was it.
Wow.
And when we left, my friend said, oh, she lives like almost an hour away. You're gonna. I said, I need to practice. I said, you can actually call this girl? You're going to date somebody that far away? I said, it's only 45 minutes.
And how long did you speak to her that night? 10 minutes?
Yeah, no, maybe a little longer than that, but not much.
Okay.
Maybe a half an hour or something like that.
Wow.
If that, I don't know.
So that the reason I asked that question, because you saw her, which was like a few minutes. Mm-hmm. You spent another few minutes with her, and you were... mesmerized?
It's just by look, you know. First thing it's I like that.
Yeah.
I like that car. It doesn't start. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And so I went up. She was nice, and we talked, and she seemed like a nice
rapport
human
was
being at the time, and wherever I was at that time, I was like 22, and then exchanged phone numbers, and then just I don't know. We went out on a date.
What was the first date like? Were you nervous or?
No, not at all. I
can't see Krista.
No, it was cool because I was going on a job interview at the time, and if that's that was the first date. And she said she was going to school, so she was in college, and she said she lived in an apartment. So whatever. Long story short, I showed up at the house. I got the impression that she lived alone, with roommates, a college student.
Okay.
And I came in a suit and tie, not. And I guess I could have had clothes in the car, but I went on a job interview, and right from there I went and picked her up. So what a great first impression. Yeah. Dad opens the door. I don't expect that. And he said, come on in. I look like a gentleman, minus, what is that called? Chocolates and flowers.
that you would have been a cornball with that right there on the first day coming up with that. But wow, that was big.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was it. I think, 21 years. And I think I've known you about 13, 14.
Salute.
And cheers.
Yeah, that's big. To the wife. So as we get ready on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, I love that story. I love
like that one.
Yeah, I love that. I love just you getting into the just the meat of how things happen organically, because that's what I love here.
I love
here. So as we ping pong around on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, I just want to touch on religion.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
I just want to hear your perspective, your experiences. I'm assuming growing up with both Italian and German mix, what was the grandparents? What was the?
Not really. I baptized Lutheran.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the whole relation?
Nothing. My mom was more religious than my father. And my father, I guess, in a way, I'd put it, but I'd put it. He was. He came from a family of a lot of people, 2 parents, and he's one of 10.
Oh, wow, it's a soccer team.
One became a nun. One of the sisters, his oldest sister, became a nun. The oldest brother almost became a priest. Grandma went to church. Well, they lived right next door to a church, so she went to church every day. All the kids, as far as I understand, definitely Sunday and Monday through Friday. I don't know about Saturday.
Yeah.
And you woke up and you went right to church first thing in the morning. morning, from what I understand, it wasn't a full service, but you got communion. That's kind of the story I understand. And so if you woke up hungry, no, you just get dressed. And I don't know if that meant you could throw on your sweatpants or whatever they wore back in those days.
Your sweatpants.
But I don't know if they had to get dressed up. But basically, yeah, that's what you had to do. You had to go downstairs and go to church and come back up.
So for a kid growing up, what was your experience like with religion or religion?
My parents were real loose. They were hippies. So, I mean, I don't know, the stereotype of a hippie. I'm using that word quite a bit tonight, stereotype. But people understand it.
No, but there's some truth to stereotype.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. There are some truth. And what's so funny is you talk about stereotype, and I don't want to segue from the topic, but I was meditating on that word the other day, and I I have to accept all the stereotypes, especially the ones that are like thrown to Jamaicans, which they're not bad, which is, one is, we got 20 jobs, which means you're productive.
Okay.
We out here keeping it moving.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And two is, you don't want to send your girl to Jamaica alone because Dexter with the 10-inch dick is going to be walking down the street like
Eddie Murphy, delirious. Or the other one.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that persona out there, I mean, if you do go with some girl and you fall short as a Jamaican, because I'm pretty sure she's expecting you to deliver. So the fact that we are, what else? Warm, loving, everything is about Bob Marley, the music, the energy, the weed influence, So that's important. So I take those stereotypes because they're pretty good. What do you think of what's your opinion on some of these stereotypes that you've heard thrown to like your Italian has?
On Italians or just in people in general?
People in general,
they're all over there, all over, and it's. I don't know. There's so many funny ones, and some people get very offended.
But it's true.
This gets dangerous grounds.
It is. Very. We got to walk.
I'll bring you right. I'll go dark. I'll jump right in deep. With pun.
Yeah. I like that. But before you do, because we got to be careful of the locker room talk.
Nothing dirty.
But I want to go with that.
Sure.
Here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, remind everybody. Just want to thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure sitting here talking to you with you, my friend.
Wow.
Just hearing. And I love the way you're sharing what you're sharing. So big shout out to my boy Steve Dubois, who's popping in and getting deep with us tonight as we segue and divert from the four main topics, but we're spending some time and having a conversation. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, guys, stay tuned. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, ladies and gentlemen, wow, it's been beautiful, the powwows we've been having behind the scenes. I just want to let everybody know, tune into our SoundCloud, tuning to our Facebook. As a matter of fact, as soon as we get everything working out beautifully, we're going to be streaming live so you can see the behind the scenes of what's happening here, because in behind the scenes, our conversation has been really deep.
Yeah, a little different. It really comes out.
Yeah, which is really what I want to continue to do. So as we get ready to jump into the final topic here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, which is sex.
Ooh. Yeah.
Let's just touch on that.
We were talking about Barry White before. We
were actually, exactly.
Barry White impersonation.
Yeah, exactly. So
was that impression? Go ahead.
So right now, and we're gonna just talk about every aspect of sex, and I just want to just touch on
every aspect. There's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty touchy. So
there's a lot, right?
it's kind of a loaded question, which is what we do here. But what's your thoughts on
sex?
Basically,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that shit is beautiful, isn't it?
And maybe we'll go over here. I've had no bad experiences like growing up. All my sexual experiences were wanted and had.
Oh wow, big.
Like some people will just go right down that. No, I didn't want to have sex.
Yeah.
I was way too young, and he was or she was way too old, and they didn't have my permission, and they just did. I'm not making fun of any. I don't know why I even went down that path.
No, I love that, because what's so funny is when you think about did your parents sit you down and have you that birds and the bees talk for you to?
No,
really...
I think I kind of learned that out with friends. I guess.
Exactly right.
Unfortunately, I wasn't. In my situation it wasn't that bad, little dirty kids talking or something like your
locker room talk for kids.
But
No, but
it wasn't like filthy dirt. I can't imagine what it's like growing up now with the internet. You were lucky I could call it lucky if you found a piece, not even a page in a Playboy magazine, just like a tear out of a part of a page, and you saw a naked breast, and it was like,
yeah.
But like, kids, you just go right on your phone, and boom, and your mom is right on the other side of that phone.
That's classic.
You know, in the same room. That's what kind of
Yeah.
They're just on that end of the room.
It's pretty bananas. It's so infiltrated
bananas,
right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I really think growing up in the same, because we're a similar age, being from Jamaica, we had the same experiences, so we really didn't have the birds and the beestalk with the fam. But you talk to your boys, and of course we watch whatever. Back in the day, we call it blue movies.
Blue movies. That was like the dirty movies.
Yeah. So it would be
skin flicks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but basically with movies where they would be kissing or something like that.
Okay.
That's really all it was. And then of course eventually you got to see some kind of a porn or whatever it was. But
finally.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But it was pretty interesting. I gotta admit, we were definitely moving a lot faster. In Jamaica, there's a lot of kids that I knew that were getting it in, either not know what they were doing at the time, or just humping or whatever they were doing, but they were moving out there, bro.
Okay, so just dry humping, I think is the term, or I know is the term. Well, I mean, actually having baby making sex.
Baby making sex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
you're talking.
And a couple of guys in my group growing up, they were like, they had a lot of notches on their belts. They were banging and chicks out nonstop.
Were they 12 years old?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they were that young.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
13, young.
Some people say that's terrible, and other people say, oh, thank you.
You know what's so funny? You say that. Can you imagine the kid? You never hear the boy who got molested by the beautiful teacher, right? And the teacher's now in jail.
I've heard the story.
You heard the story.
Yeah, right. Didn't she get out and they have kids and everything?
Well, yeah, they did. But I'm talking about there's been a couple other teachers before that. But my point for bringing that up, as the student, the male student, I mean, what a home run, right? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, these are just some locker room talk, please.
Is that what we're having here right now?
What a home run for the kid, right?
I don't know. I mean, you go all over the place. I think when I was that age, I remember, I'm not going to put the name out there, but there was one teacher in particular in high school, wah wah wee wah, as the late great Borat used to say. Oh, are you kidding me? That would have been just ideal. Right? I guess 15, 14, freshman year. Yeah, you saw her and you knew, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't think it would have ruined your life if she got pregnant or you got in trouble over it. But if you just had sex with her, you probably get older and go, that was a little young. But well, I'm so glad it's happened. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Wonder what she's doing now.
Back to the high school experience. So that's kind of interesting, because what do you think about the pressures on our young people with the sexual options now that it's like a smorgasbord of choices that you could, or lanes that you could go in depending on, I don't know, the pressures the group you want to fit in?
I don't think I understand that question. I got to be honest with you.
I respect that. What I'm trying to say is this. I think with the infiltration of the sexual information and sexual freedom and everything that's going on now, young people are now given a multitude of choices that they have to go down. So let's say I'm a guy, I'm dating this girl, she breaks my heart, and I date another girl, she breaks my heart. I'm like, you know what, being gay is maybe more because it's a popular way to go or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just really think
is it a popular way to go? Would gay people agree with that? It's a popular way to go. So non-gay people join the gay parade. I don't know.
In high school,
I'm just messing around.
There is some point to that. There is some point, because in high school, let's be real. In high school, you have to be a part of a group. You got to be a part of a group.
I understand. Yeah, there are groups.
There are groups, and the same groups that are in high school transcends through life. You do better in a group. Humans do better communally.
Yeah, I've heard that. Absolutely, and I agree with that.
So if I'm not, if things are not going right, and being, like girls, they'll go to a party and it's fascinating to be kissing another girl because it's no big deal, and the guys, you follow? Next thing I don't know. I just heard a lot of stories where I think it's.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
I don't think that young people are given the breathing room to make the educated decisions on whether I want to be heterosexual, switch, transgender, gay. It's just.
Do you think it's done intentionally? I tend to think all this is the educational system, what's going on when we're being taught, who's in control. I'm talking about we were talking politics earlier, but what's happening? What is happening? We're being spoon-fed this more and more, faster and faster. We were talking about that earlier, the internet, the phone, the television set, television programming. This is nothing new, but some people may not have even thought of this before. It's programming. It's just that simple. Television programs are programming you.
So we now need to deprogram ourselves.
And I don't know how you're going to do that.
Try to figure that out, right?
Yeah. And maybe it's not as hard as we're sounding it to be.
Yeah, maybe it's not.
For some people. Yeah, maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's doing what you're doing already.
Away.
Maybe it's doing what you're doing, which is disconnecting from this artificial world as much as you do.
At least being more conscious of it. That's all I could tell anybody. Just be more conscious of the fact that you're not, that we're all not, that me included, every single person, we're really not that conscious. I don't know what the not studies, it's fact. Your subconscious is running the show. You're very, in your day, from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, they say you're only conscious or aware of really very much. I don't know. I'm not educated on this, but I understand that you're not. You ever driving and all of a sudden, holy I'm home. What happened? You weren't drinking. You just, I got to my exit. I'm here already. Wow.
Yeah.
Because you're just running on the same pattern. You're a computer, and your hard drive has downloaded what you do, your daily routine, your weekly routine, your monthly, and your yearly routine. Everything is just the same. Look around you. Is anything different? Is anything changing? Back to me saying I want to change my habit of procrastination.
Yeah.
I'm procrastinating. I'm in the same loop, doing the same pattern, like
avoiding the same things.
Yeah, you wake up. What do? The same thing. Bathroom, brush my teeth. I get ready. I make my coffee or whatever you do. A smoothie, and then you're out the door, and then you have the same thoughts every day about the traffic, about how I don't like this job or whatever it is. I'm just going in a negative way.
No. Those are all real points. But as I try to bring this back to the initial topic and the final topic we touched on, which is sex, I think that's also true with the programming on how people are, because that gives you, society also set the rules, and the way we are fed all this media crap and the way everything, the infiltration. So we get also programmed with the sexuality. So the individual and power of sex is somewhat diminished, because I think there's a lot of power with that. As a matter of fact, on my other conversation with my buddies Garth and Ron, which is a podcast that's available on SoundCloud, I mentioned that sex is like an Excalibur sword. You have to swing with responsibility. So because you have the ability and to have it, I think we need to be very responsible, whether you're gay, straight, bi, whatever you want to be. But you need to be responsible with that. And if we taught that responsibility, or really, it's like me giving you a gun. If you had a kid, would you give your kid a loaded gun to play with?
No, you wouldn't give an adult a gun to play with.
Exactly. Or a kid. So.
But then define the word play, because going out and being responsible and shooting some watermelons out in the back.
True.
You're playing, you're having fun. You're not. You're not swinging the guns or looking down the barrel, going, "There's one more left."
Wow. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But when I think about it, it's like right now, like my two daughters, and I ask all my guests, especially when it comes to this particular topic. Let's say you and
are we talking guns now?
No, we're talking kids.
Okay.
So you have to leave a wise word of wisdom to your kids regarding sex, or if you have to talk to your kid about sex. And I don't want to really taint your answer to this question, but let's say boy or girl.
Yeah.
What would be that word or that statement of advice to your kid if you had to say something to them, preparing them for sex?
Well, I've done this to my sister. As I said, there's a 20-year difference between my brother and I.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you did say
17 with my sister. I don't recall with my brother, and I guess there's that, I don't know. It's like, the guy, I'm a boy. So like men are little. Maybe if you have twins, I've always used this one. If you have twins, a boy and a girl,
Which I
Which
am.
one's allowed to come home later than the other? Or not allowed, but who do you feel a little more comfortable out? Oh, the boy's coming home late on a date that he went out with. Daddy, I'm taking a girl out. Okay, be home a little later. If you even have a time, and say that time is whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he comes home an hour late. You're not that worried. I think you might not be that worried. As a man, I'm not as worried as I would be if it was my daughter. So there's that little bit of a...
Which is fair. It's fair.
Right, all right, fair or not, but that just is. It's kind of the way I feel. We'll talk about that another time when we talk about races and stuff being programmed. But I do recall with my sister, I don't know what age she was. I don't know if she was 12 or 14. I'm not too sure. For some reason, I think it was around the 12-year-old age. I basically sat her down, and this is the way I went about it. And I told a friend of mine, so he had mentioned, I'm going to use that too on my kid. Whether he did or not, I don't know. Just a little shout out to him. I'm not going to leave the name. He shall remain nameless.
Okay.
But he sat down with my sister, and I basically, if I recall the way I said it, was, I'm going to have a conversation with you real quick. It's not going to go too long. It might make you uncomfortable. It's going to make me more uncomfortable, not just during the time, but when we separate right now after this, you might be uncomfortable. I'm even more uncomfortable than I was saying it. So you're not alone.
Right.
But I said, I just want to talk to you about sex, and that me being a guy, I have a certain perspective that you might not have, and I'm older. So I just want to tell you that guys, you might love somebody and they might say they love you, especially at that age, whatever. She's 12 is going to be coming up, whatever, in several years or a year later, who knows, But I basically said was, if you're going to have, a guy may just happen to say, sex could be the best feeling that you've ever felt physically.
Yeah.
Just the best feeling in your life, and emotion can be all over that too as well.
True.
So knowing that, a guy is more likely to say, I love you, and,
Of course.
Because
Guilty as
it
charged.
feels good, whatever.
Yeah,
So
you're
he
right.
wants it. When you want something that's that unbelievable, that can be that unbelievable, you want that so much. People do lie. Doesn't mean they don't love you, or maybe they don't understand what love means. Most likely at 14 or 15, you probably don't. I'm not going to upset anybody. I don't think that's the case,
Yeah.
And so I said, so you just want to be really careful, because in the event that you conceived, you got pregnant, the father of the child, or the boy, whether he helps out financially or not, he's still going back to his home with his family.
Yes.
And you're having a baby. The whole family, we're having the baby.
Yeah.
We're taking care of it, even if the guy's paying for whatever. The guy's paying for it. It's still, we're with it.
Yeah.
More than likely, the girl has the baby.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it went. And then it wasn't uncomfortable from what I remember. That really just kind of ended, and it got more comfortable and very close. And comfortable expressing myself with my family.
Yeah, it's very good. That's very good.
And then that was it.
Wow.
And she didn't have a baby, and she's 24.
Salute to that.
I got my Poland Spring, man.
Salute to that as we get ready to roll. So just want to let everybody know here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, as we get ready to tag and let everybody know, I want to give a big shout out to E in the background on the audio, Manny making sure this thing's looking right on the video. We're going to be setting up our YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure that Steve Dubois is going to be we're going to be doing something on a regular basis.
Okay.
We're going to sit down, we're going to pull this together, because what I love here is everything that we've created has just been organically pulled together. And before I even zigged on that topic, and how I feel like we should do something together, because it's overdue.
Let's do it.
However, I like the fact that you were able to speak with your sister from a male perspective, and came across to her. That was big. I haven't really sat down with my daughter, I really didn't get a chance to sit down with my daughters, but I have a great relationship with them, so we've kind of spoken about it over time, and I try to set the bar high, because subconsciously I know the impact I'm having on my girls, good, bad, and indifferent. I have to accept that, because my oldest told me that after a while she realized that I'm not the Superman that she thought I was. And as tough as that was to hear, it was a reality check, because then she saw I'm human, you know what I mean? For whatever faults I may have had or exposed at the time, consciously or subconsciously. So, but I spend a lot of time with them, and I want to be there to raise the bar. So they have somebody, they might like certain characteristics and then appeal to that. So I think you might have that effect in your sister, where she's like, I want a man who is going to be as thorough in communicating and expressive, because I get that from you, and I'm pretty sure that's how you are with all the ladies in your life, you know what I mean? So if you were to leave a word of advice for your son, though, what would that be? Slay them every day.
I don't have a, I don't have a
no,
son.
No, you use your sister as your daughter, and if you had a son,
what would I tell?
What would you tell your son regarding the word of advice on sex?
Wait, back to the. I'm sorry, I don't think. I don't get the.
We were talking about sex before.
Yeah, no,
and
I said if I was telling my brother when he was.
No, we said if you had to leave a word of wisdom to your kid, right? And I said, boy or girl, and then you use your sister as an example, which I figured if you had a daughter, you would communicate with her the same way. If you had a son,
how would I communicate?
What would you?
Yeah. No, I got that.
And then I said, you tell him to slay them as like slay everything that comes your way.
I think,
Sonny.
I think if it's hard because he's a little older, but I don't know why I'm not recalling. I think whether I said this or not.
Yeah.
But for some reason I do. I think I had this conversation with him.
Wear a condom?
Be safe. Because by the time that I had the talk with him, he might have been 13 or 14.
So I don't
know, maybe even older. But no, if I had a son, I would just say,
put her legs on your shoulder.
Yeah. You better be very careful about it. It'll be the best feeling that you'll ever have in your life, probably.
Yeah.
And your whole life will change.
It is very powerful.
Drastically change. And more than likely, no matter, you wouldn't want to, years later, a kid's 20 years old, you wouldn't regret having your child, or, I think.
True.
But what you would do is you'd have it in, yes, it would have been easier if I didn't have this child at that age.
Yeah.
Of course, it's who they are, now with me. But
true.
Yeah,
true.
if I could have had.
Yeah, we went through a curing process, my wife and I. That whole process was interesting. However, as you were saying, with Be Safe, Ron from the other podcast, where we had the discussion, he said, respect it. Because it comes with a lot of pleasure, but you have to respect it, which goes back to the Excalibur sword analogy and being safe. So I appreciate the thorough communication skills you express in both those scenarios, because at the end of the day, that's really what it boils down to. And it's really what I try to do here on this Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. By the way, we're going to get freaky and put the kitchen in the set and have the DJ going and just get things going, bro.
Whatever you do.
You
run the show.
Yeah, we're trying to get a couple of lapels mic on so you can be riding the bike around and be on the show at the same time and keep
you moving.
That bike. Yeah, no doubt. So as we get ready to wrap here, I just want to let you know it's been a pleasure to have you here, Stevie Dubois. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
And as we sit back and build, I look forward to doing another session with you where we can build on a certain. I have a couple ideas which I'll talk with you off the mic. But in the meantime, as we get ready to leave, is there anything you want to leave us with? A word of wisdom, a phrase, a quote that you live by, besides stay in nature and stay connected?
No, I just want to say thank you, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad you asked me to do it, and it came all at the right time.
Thanks.
I'm long overdue to break that procrastination I was talking about earlier.
And this is a part of it.
And yeah, absolutely, 100% a part of it. And this is something that it's right up my alley. This is where I wanted to go and the direction I wanted to go.
Okay.
So coming down here was just a pleasure, and I knew you'd be nothing but professional and fantastic and a wonderful person to be around, and you always are my friend for a long time.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, it's been beautiful, and to hear you share like what's the word I'm looking for?
Take your time.
The unspoken connection.
There it is.
Because I just called you out of the blue, and you were right. What you said over the phone, and wanting to be here. So to know that you came and you shared and experienced what you experienced, and I just want to make this better. I feel like I have something here. I feel like the friends around me are talented. We're really doing this on a string budget, and the string is now down to a chord. It's there. We're tight, but I do know that diamonds are made under pressure. You know.
I'm a diamond. I'm gonna shine. No, wait.
No, for real. No,
you're a diamond. I'm a diamond. I'm gonna shine. Compared to everyone else, I'm like the whole damn diamond mines. Michael Starr.
Oh wow! Wow! That's a quote that we're gonna go out with on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. Could you say that again? What's the quote?
I'm a diamond. I'm gonna shine. Compared to everyone else, I'm like the whole damn diamond mines. Michael Starr.
Oh, Michael Starr. Wow. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, stay focused. That's the jewel that we're going to drop on you tonight as we clock out here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. Stay tuned. We're going to have some creative stuff coming out. We're going to be outdoors showing you some interesting stuff coming from Paterson, New Jersey. And just want to let everybody know, thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the music on SoundCloud, Facebook. We're going to be streaming live as we kick back, play some ping pong. Enjoy the best beer ever made, Heineken. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. See you tomorrow. 1.